Welcome to City's Raji's Cuisine. Today we will be doing lamb stew with vindaloo spices and sweet squash and turnips. There is nothing French about this dish. Raji added this dish to the menu because a lot of folks were asking for it. And the speciality about this is that it is not all the way cooked like the vindaloo, where it is the meat is falling off the bone, but she makes it like medium to fully cooked, but the meat is still on the bone. And she specifically mentions that every spice that is used in this recipe needs to be separately roasted and fried, so the spices are mixed later during the dish, but not when they are grinded. So it's interesting fact that she says. So I'm very curious as how this smells, because so far I've added all the spices together and blended it, but for this dish specifically, since Raji suggests, I'm going to use them separately and fry them separately and grind them separately for the dish. This is a crowd pleaser again, and she's added that sweet squash and turnips on top of the vindaloo meat, so giving it the starchy part for this main course dish. I do not have turnips, so I'm going to skip turnips for this one. So let us look at the ingredients needed for lamb stew with vindaloo spices and sweet squash and turnips. Ingredients for our lamb stew with vindaloo spices and sweet squash and turnip: urad dal 1/4 spoon, and mustard seeds 1/4 spoon, and cumin 1/8 spoon, and asafoetida a pinch of it, sesame oil 1 tablespoon, water 2 tablespoons, peanut oil 2 tablespoons, squash 1/2 cup, cilantro finely chopped, and nutmeg, it's 1/8 spoon, coriander powder, then mashed tamarind and fenugreek powder, all of them 1/8 spoon, olive oil 1/2 spoon, salt to taste, coarse salt to taste, jaggery 1/4 spoon, and light brown sugar 1/4 spoon, chicken stock 1/4 cup, and lamb stew meat I added 1 cup, enough for 2 people. And 1 tablespoon of ground chilies. Dry roast in a small saute pan individually each of these small spices like urad dal, mustard, cumin and asafoetida, and keep them separate, and in a spice blender try to make powder separately. Now roasting the mustard seeds, roasting the cumin seeds, roasting asafoetida. Since it's already in the powdered form, you don't have to fry. You don't have to grind this. It's already roasted and powdered coriander seeds. Roasted and powdered fenugreek seeds separately, and now I am trying to mix them. Now try to add some sesame oil, little water and jaggery to this mixture. So I'm going to make a hole so I can add jaggery to our mixture and drizzling in some sesame oil. And water, making it into a nice crumble. Add this crumble to our meat mixture and nicely mix it with your hand, coating every meat piece. And nicely coated it. I'm going to add ground chili also and coat it a little bit more. And let it marinate for 30 minutes. Take a heavy bottom pan and add peanut oil. We are going to be frying our meat that has been marinated, and we'll roast it for 7 minutes on high flame so it becomes brown. I'm waiting for the oil to heat up. Add meat and roast it for 7 minutes till it becomes lightly brown. Our meat is getting roasted. You see it is slightly brown. Now we are going to add water and cook it for 30 minutes on very low flame. Make sure you are stirring it, checking it once in a while so it doesn't get stuck to the bottom of the pot. I'm going to cover it and cook it for 15 to 30 minutes. I added water and I'm adding a little salt to this so it gets some flavor into it. And then make sure it is not sticking to the bottom. And since I just have enough for 2 people stew, so I would say just let it cook for 15 minutes. While our meat is cooking, we are going to get our squash ready. I'm not adding turnips, but if you're adding turnips, you could add squash and turnips and make it ready. So I'm taking some warm water or boiled water and adding some salt to it, and I'll bring it to boil so we can cook our squash. Adding squash to it, and let's let it come to boil in about 2 minutes. It's boiling. Now remove the squash and pat it dry so there's no water on top of it. Pat it dry so you don't have any water in it. Now take a small saute pan, add olive oil, add our blanched vegetables, nutmeg and brown sugar to it. Brown sugar and nutmeg, and let it roast for 2 minutes. We have to make sure the squash and all squash is tender. We're going to add a little salt to taste. Make sure we roast this for 10 minutes for these vegetables to become tender. See, it's not tender now, it's just blanched. Our vegetable seems to be tender, so since we just had 1 cup of vegetables, it just took 5 minutes for me to cook this. So take this and keep it in a separate pan. 15 minutes into cooking, we do have some more water in it, and the meat is really not cooked still. So let's wait for another 5 minutes on low flame. Let's cook for another 5 minutes before we add the chicken stock. So almost 20 minutes. Meat seems to be cooked. Now we are going to add the stock, the chicken stock, and we'll bring it to boil. Increase the temperature and bring it to boil in 5 and let it cook for 5 minutes. Increase the temperature. Increase the temperature, and we're going to wait for this to boil for 5 minutes. Cover it and then let it boil. It's almost done. Add cilantro and a little salt to taste. Almost done. We're going to switch it off and put it in a nice stew bowl and top it with the vegetables. The oil is also out a little. Our lamb stew with vindaloo spices and sweet squash is ready to be served. I garnished it with coriander, and enjoy.